as urban designers, our responsibility, and landscape architects, is to start with that sustainability right from the outset. And that's not about the technology. That's about, is it easy to walk around the place? Is it easy to cycle? Is it in the right place? What's the percentage of green space? For example, there's loads of other kind of things that we should be thinking about. Are our streets orientated in the right direction? Are we making sure that we've protected the right bits of the landscape and the biodiversity? So we're working on a new settlement in Oxfordshire at the moment, and we've worked with space syntax and designed the master plan from the landscape up. All of the streets and spaces have been designed around views of the wider landscape and the AONB, which is quite exciting because it means that we're capturing amazing vistas and views that people have never seen before. So it's again going back to that, providing things that people haven't had access to. And we worked with space syntax and kind of rotated some of our streets like by 2 extra degrees in one direction to get them to kind of connect really well, and made sure that the street network that we've created is seamless, and that it's a kind of natural movement progression from the existing public rights of way and bridleways through the new town centre. And therefore, kind of what's the outcome of that? And the outcome has been that we've managed to design a place against the benchmark, which is currently Poundbury. So Poundbury is seen as being a very good place for movement for cyclists and pedestrians. So far, we are more walkable and more cyclable than Poundbury. And that kind of inherent sustainability from the outset is really, really important.
Because it's going to get people out of their cars and obviously use sustainable modes of transport.
But it's also making sure that a place is walkable, that it has a high walkability index, so that people don't make those really short trips to the shop or to a school, and everything that they need in that place is within their own settlement. And so really, really exciting. And that I don't think would have happened if we hadn't have had the pandemic. We've definitely pushed the design and progressed it, and it has 60% green space in a way that we never would have done 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So there are some really great outcomes that we can start to work with and push the boundaries even further. I think that's really exciting for our profession.
No, definitely. I think it's really important. I mean, I was listening to someone talk recently and they were saying, should we be designing for the electric car or should we be designing for no car? And actually, really, we should probably be designing for no car. It's all well and good replacing, all of the cars with electric, but we've still got all that infrastructure. There's still the energy that goes into that, and you won't have communities that are properly connected, and cities can be strangled by main roads and all this type of thing. So that's really important. It is kind of, how do we rethink the way we've used our cities and things in the past, and what do we want them to be for the future?
So a very big part of our sustainability strategy for the new settlement, which is called Harrington, which I probably should have mentioned, in South Oxfordshire, is that we are designing phase by phase. So when the first phase is constructed, our kind of climate strategy will be to look at how it's performing as a place in that first phase. And then the next phase will be designed taking that on board. So rather than saying, let's design for no cars from the outset, perhaps we're designing for electric cars in phase 1, but as those phases progress, they may become no cars. And it's really important that we can test master planning in that way, so that we don't end up with those places that are designed 20 years ago and only just landing on the ground.
Yeah,
that's the thing, because Harrington is about 6,500 homes, isn't it? With schools, community facilities, doctor's surgery, high street, and mixed use. We should be under no illusion that that's going to take quite a long time to obviously come forward. So going back to the point we made earlier, that we might be designing for what is sustainable today. Technology will change in 5, 10, 20 years' time. So the approach of looking at it phase by phase and the adaptability in what's coming forward has to take that into account.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. I mean, it's interesting in terms of do you get involved much with sort of urban policy and things as well, of how settlements might be looked at in the future?
We don't really get that opportunity. I think as a profession we should do. We should be working with local authorities to do that. But then you also have the risk of being in a place where you've got a client who wants to position something somewhere and then you're looking at how a place should come forward, and there's that slight risk of kind of contradicting one another.
Yeah, the conflict of interest and all that type of thing.
That you've got two interests. Yeah, so it's quite an interesting thing.
Yeah. So we don't do a lot of work direct with local authorities. Despite there sometimes being a bit of a desire to do so, maybe not as much as there should be, but our work does sit predominantly on the private side.